What if the walls of Jericho came tumbling down, not in the Middle East, like we've been told, but here in Utah, United States? And what if these are actually the remains of the wall of Jericho? Okay, this is part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, please go watch it, because in that video I explain a little bit more about how the Bible shows us where the location of Jericho is using scripture, and I map it out, show you on the map where Jericho is at. And this video is going to make a lot more sense if you go watch that one first, so please do if you haven't. Okay, so this is a rock formation called Paul Bunyan's Woodpile. It's considered a basalt formation from volcanic activity eons ago. And maybe it is, but I'm just going to show you guys and let you decide what to think. So in the previous video, I showed you where Jericho is, and this is right here where Jericho is. It's called Paul Bunyan's Woodpile. This is where it is on the map. It's right on the ridge above what is called Jericho, modern day Jericho, which is actually a ghost town. So what we're looking at now would be considered the plains of Jericho, as referenced in the Bible. There's Jericho out there. It was a train stop. So back in the day, there was a train that went through there, and Jericho was, I believe, part of the route, and that was a town or something there, and it became a ghost town, which is interesting because this whole area matches the biblical prophecies and descriptions of Jericho, saying it will be a wasteland and no one will inhabit it. Now, I know the naysayers are going to be screaming at me in the comments that this is just a basalt volcanic formation. So I just want to share with you guys some other basalt volcanic formations and show that, yes, I am aware of that. I do know that that is what it appears to be. At this point in my journey, I'm starting to question what all of these basalt volcanic formations were, though. And, you know, maybe it is. Maybe that's all it is. But the fact that it's literally right where Jericho is and is formed in the shape of a wall, which none of these other ones are. They're all standing upright. This one literally looks like a constructed wall. So, I mean, at the very least, it's a really, really, really bizarre coincidence. But like, look at these, and then let me show you some images of the Paul Bunyan woodpile here. This is straight on. Here's the outside of the wall. It almost looks like a retaining wall to me. Here's the view from the wall. That would be the plains of Jericho, and off in the distance is where the Great Hinder Sea or Western Sea, or what we think of as the Mediterranean in modern day references, would have been. It was a great inland sea that filled the Great Basin. I'm not making this up, it's an actual thing. Here is a side view of 3 of the main formations. And I don't know, I think it's interesting that there's 3 like that, because I have read articles about like their where they believe Jericho, you know, they possibly found it in the Middle East. And that, you know, they dug it up. It seems like there were like some walls here, and that anyway, the theory is that there were 3 walls, that there was an outer wall, an inner wall, and then an inner wall. And that the town was actually circular shaped. And so like the rich people got to live on the inside because it was safest. The poor people had to live on the outer wall because it was less safe, which is where Rahab lived, because she was a woman of the night. And so she lived on the outer wall. So in the Bible, you know, the walls fell down. Everything except where Rahab was. Rahab was saved. She and her family were saved. Her home was saved because she basically made a deal with the Israelite spies, right? So my guess would be, if this were to be the wall of Jericho, that this would be where Rahab's house was, because it's all that remains. Well, at least that I can tell. I haven't been out there personally to hike around. If you go, please go look and send me videos and pictures. You can definitely see why it would be called Paul Bunyan's woodpile. It looks exactly like a pile of logs, like exactly. And if you're one of my followers, I'm sure you've gone down the rabbit holes of mud floods and meltology and, all the old buildings that were turned to stone or petrified. And what this looks like to me is a constructed wall that has been petrified due to cataclysmic disaster or time, who knows. There's even this really cool archway. It's perfectly symmetrical and formed. Here's another view of the plains of Jericho. Here's another view of that archway. You can see kind of how even it is. I don't know. It's really cool. Whatever it is, it's cool. Close up of some of the stones. I mean, that just flat up looks like a wall to me. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I would love to go look around the area and see if there's more stones, similar types of stones scattered around that mountain or that hill. It's not exactly a mountain. There's another picture. I'm just showing you pictures now. But hang on, I'm going to talk about Elisha Spring as well. Just a sec, I'll pull that up. There's some weird looking rocks. Yeah, they're probably volcanic, but I mean, I don't know, the coincidences. At this point, the coincidences are stacking up so thick and heavy, it's hard for me to discount this. I'm a little mind boggled, I'm not gonna lie. I'm struggling still to wrap my mind around this. Here's another view. Okay, so Elisha Spring. So in the Bible, there's a spring of Jericho, and it was bad water, and anyone who drank from it would miscarry. And it was bad water. And so the prophet Elijah went there, and people said something to him, and he fixed the spring. He threw salt in it and did some other stuff, and it made the water good. And after that, everybody who drank the water was super healthy, and that was the spring of Jericho. By the way, you guys can go see this map for yourself. It's in my bio if you want to go look at it. It's just a Google Earth map that I've been marking everything on that I find. So go check it out if you want to. So anyway, right here by the wall by Paul Bunyan's woodpile, or the walls of Jericho, which I have marked in blue up there, is a spring called Riley Spring. I had to dig hard to find this because it doesn't just show up on the maps. I had to pull old USGS water reports and from the 1800s and stuff to find this. So there's a spring there. I have not seen pictures of it. If anyone has photos of it, I would love to see it. But this is one of the resources I found on it. It's talking about Riley Springs and Boone Springs, which I have not found. There is a Boone Spring way up in the mountain on the other side of the Jordan. I'm not sure if it doesn't make sense that's the one it's referencing. But there's Riley Canyon. Apparently there's a Boone Canyon. I have not found that yet. But anyway, they used to pipe this. They used to pipe Riley Springs, water from Riley Springs to Jericho. Here's a map of the pipelines. I'm assuming they're referencing the train depot. They probably piped it down there to fill the steam engines with water. I mean, I know around here that's a big thing. There's tons of springs, and back in the day, that's what they did with them. They filled the steam engines. So I'm assuming that's what they're referencing, but still, it is very interesting. But the main point is that there were legal water rights to this spring, which means that it had a significant water flow. It was a good-sized spring for there to be water rights on it. There were not water rights on Boone Spring, which tells you it's smaller. But that spring is within, Riley Spring is within about half a mile of where I'm assuming Rahab's house would have been outside the walls of Jericho. I have seen old documents from 300 AD describing something similar. I might try to share those with you guys next, but I'm actually running out of time on this video. But it actually describes a journey to the promised land, or to the Holy Land, and describes the location of Rahab's house and Elisha Spring. Okay, tell me your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think. I'm a little mind boggled by this one, personally. And if you're local, please go hike and take pictures and send me videos. I'm sure we could find more out there.